Hi everyone. So I'll be presenting my project that's called Tools for the Commons. So Tools for the Commons is the operating system for founders and projects executing a social innovation within physical territories. So a few words about myself. So as my accent may suggest, I'm French, but I actually live in Brazil. I've been living in Brazil for the past 10 years, and it's by far the country and regulation and opportunities and challenges that I know better. And before knowing anything about network states and charter cities, I think I gravitated around all those themes in many examples. So I think what connects mostly my experience to that world is my past company called A55. So it's a funding platform for the tech industry in Latin America, mostly based in Brazil and Mexico. I've been financing about 1,000 tech companies, so more than the entire VC industry altogether. And like a few things really spot my mind. So among them, adjusting the laws in Manaus, in the specially economic zone, to be able to incorporate digital businesses within this regulatory carve-out. Two, teaming up with the government in Brazil during the COVID crisis to be able to distribute public financing, so printing money straight into the protocol of this platform for rescue financing for SMBs. And finally, building the blockchain rails to be able to take blockchain and crypto capital in Brazil to fund SMBs. So I think these were my major connections to that network thing. So I wouldn't spend much time on this, but definitely our current operating system, so the nation state has not been updated. We could see multiple aspects of that curve, but basically most of our physical infrastructure is pretty much the same because we have a software problem, and that's why our hardware, so the physical territory is so lagging behind. And basically what we are building here is like a new operating system, and it's a new operating system with big shifts in history. So today we live in a world that basically has as major tools control of apps, printing laws, and guns to enforce them. And when we live in a peer-to-peer and connected world, basically cryptography and peer-to-peer networks can completely change those tools and enable us to have like a new framework for collaboration. So what does that mean for Latin America? These are our KPIs of our existing operating system. So we've been discussing at length the US, but like literacy is like an absolute catastrophe in Latin America. So like around 50% of people are not proficient from a literacy perspective. So the problem starts here. Teachers is very related to this, and healthcare is not that bad, but it's not that good either. Government trust, so extremely bad, terribly bad. In most Latin American countries, people don't trust their government. Finances, it's very bad. Like in Brazil, the sovereign rate is at 13.13%, and it's not the worst country in Latin America. So as a result, we pay more interest rates than we invest in health or than we invest in education. And there's just no urbanism. So the hardware, the physical territory has not been planned at all. And one of the reasons for this is that both the source of funds is broken because it's like unlimited printing, and the use of funds in all those commons is also broken, so leading to hyperinflation in pretty much everything that is in the hand of the governments, starting by education and healthcare. And at the same time, when we look at other operating systems, so the startup operating system that has been growing for the past 10 years, then the commons have been substantially democratized. So now in Latin America we have about 20 unicorns. Money has been pouring into the region, and the internet penetration is roughly at 80%. So this is what entrepreneurs deliver to Latin America, and this is what the government delivers to Latin America. That's the reality today. So let's look at what has been true for the past 20 years. It's like the startup playbook. So the startup playbook really focuses on ignoring politics, raise money from venture capital, focus on technology, deliver technology, and the rest will follow. But a couple of assumptions no longer hold true, such as the regulatory environment and the very desire to build like an interesting social contract with governments, and teaming up between all startups. So this is where we stand to build basically the tools and the new operating systems. So what Latitude did in Latin America to create like a startup playbook, we are about to create a startup society playbook. So on top of legal structures and VC networking, we need educational parallel governance. We need project finance because it takes a lot of money to build a city or to build a country, much more than just venture capital. We need a peer-to-peer governance layer to organize societies at the edge of the internet. And we need to have like a beauty contest and a dating with governments and with municipalities and not only with venture capital. And with this, we can navigate unstable political environments, and we can focus on political innovations and building on the physical world as well as the goods. So for us, we are delivering on those tools. So we are very involved in a community called IP City. So that's the meetup piece and the content piece. So we have an event on December 1st. Lucas is joining. So if you want to join online or in any capacity, feel free to join. It will be the first Startup Societies conference in Latin America. We have AWA, which is the project finance rails, so with cryptographically verifiable collateral, so that we can crowdfund the real world through institutional rails, through oracles. So this is how it looks like. This is sort of pool institutional project finance on chain. We created the tokenomics studio as well, so that we can deliver the tokenomics framework for cities, private and state one, and we also created like public policy arms so that we can create and push on the federal level in Brazil, special economic zones, special digital zones, and special territories, as well as urban preservation as well. So how does it connect to Próspera? Maybe I would love to come back with a new slide with teaming up with maybe like an arbitration joint venture, so that we can create like a legal framework that articulates all those agreements together better. And I will quickly tell you about the first clients in these last few minutes. So our first client is Sindona. Sindona is the leading affordable housing player in Brazil. So we've been purchasing this in the center of São Paulo. So these are 600 units that we've been basically refurbishing low-income people, and we will be building the governance layer with project finance and social and financial services within the area, as well as the filters for the application process of people who will be living in those areas. We are also working with a city called Osasco. So it's almost 1 million people. A few unicorns are based in Osasco, and they hired us to build the social point of the city to work on circular economy, and mostly with project finance connected to the real world with the technology. And we have like a few interesting prospective clients. So this is a project that's live with 30,000 people expected to live in the city of Paraná. So they built the real world already, but they have no clue of how to organize society there. So that might be one of the big projects we'll be working on. We also acquired through our partnership with Sindona 5% of Ribeirão Pires in the south of São Paulo for a 10-year project including preservation. We're also working with the city of Rio that want to give us 2 spaces, so one in the center of the city and one in the forests to delegate environment. And the final vision is basically to orchestrate this with protocol and oracles with a for-profit company that will be connected with the community, with the foundations, and all the legal considerations that we have. And the last consideration is more like technical and that connects with crypto and legal, which is the long-term vision, which is basically oracle network. So how to connect network states to the real world, through all those connections with the real world, with node operators organized as oracles, and then the network to basically connect blockchains, Web2, private entities, sovereign governments, and people to the same protocol. So that's it.
right.
Where in Nicholas's chart do you place your projects, or would you fall in kind of different sections of it?
So I would say infrastructure, but it's like Amazon. So I think we will build the first units, we'll be extremely involved in the construction of the first units, and at some point I hope to be on the infrastructure, and I hope that a lot of people will raise their hands and say, hey, I want to be the child of the city, show me the playbook. But there will be like a high degree of education. So I expect the first unit to be both the production of the unit and the production of the infrastructure. And at some point, hopefully with education, tons of people will raise their hands and build new cities.
Do you have an ask for the next steps, something like that, or is this more informing us?
Next steps, so we have all those MOUs and all those agreements. Now we need to deliver technologies to the back end and not only the front. So for this, next step is like fundraising, executing the MOUs, then subsequent step project finance to execute on refurbishment and greenfield operations as well. And third step would be to start building the protocol once we have transactions and flows operating in the network to start decentralization. So these are the three next steps.
Awesome. Thank you, Hugo.